guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow, guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. Well, boys and girls, we got ourselves an In the Box special today. Yes, we do. In here, straight from the old manufacturer, is a Texas Star Sweet 16, and over here is a Modulator V+. Over here is the fan kit for said amplifier. Now, the customer that sent this to me is my homeboy, my partner in crime. What he wants me to do to it is no fuses. Remove the fuse box. Power wire upgrades, Hako strain reliefs, cancel the fan thermistor on the fan. So what he wants it to do is when we turn the damn thing on, the fan comes on. Driver, he wants 2290 done in Allen Bradley variable. Got it. Small fan on the heatsink. Got you covered. And metal caps. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this one thoroughly, but we're going to give it a good whirl. He sent me 1/0 Anderson connectors. Actual Texas Star. And remember, that flag isn't backwards. The stripes always run forward. That's why it's designed to go on the right shoulder. And this one's designed to go on a wall. Cool, dude. Well, let's rip this sucker out of here. And let's see what we got going on the inside. That note, we shall return. Man. So, Texas Star has changed their design. They've changed the orientation of their output transformer. But this used to be its own separate little board. They made their own separate board for this. If we look really, really close, we'll see that what they've done here is they literally took like a TX250 board and they cut it in half. If we look down this edge, you can see where they just sawed it right down the edge. So they cut it right in between the 1 and the 2 pill section. Right down the middle. That's a little different. But it'll work. So what we've got in here is a DEI 2879 15-3Q. And we're going to change that out to a brand new 2290. And then we're going to change out the variable to a nice new brand new Allen Bradley. And then we're going to get rid of the shitty little power wires. And we're going to put some big power wires in it. So give me a minute. It'll be done. Yeehaw! Preamp is a scooching and a chooching. All right. So, the power wires, of course, put a 2290 in there per request. I would have put a 2879 in there myself, but per written request, 2290. We're going to hit it with a 2950, 5-watt slug between 2950 and the little modulator. 1000-watt slug and peak, 1000 average, 5-watt slug and reverse. Oh, whole 20 watts worth of drive. Oh, nice 120 watts peak, around 14 volts. Oh, pulling about 13 amps. And there's your upgraded variable. So everything's perfect. Input tune. Nice and low. Pass-through tune. Nice and low as well. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and we'll unplug this thing here. Now, do I have what I am looking for? I do. I've got 2 left. I got one more thing I want to do. I'll be right back. All right, gentlemen. Well, Mr. Black, we've upgraded your power wires, put an Anderson clip on here per your request. and left you more than ample amount of wire length so you can have this sitting up in the cab with you or wherever you want to put it in this, whatever particular vehicle you put it in. Now I have 2 fans, and they are scooching friggin' good. Downside, they're a little bit loud. So I'm going to wait to install these until I can talk to you tomorrow about it. So we're going to set this aside. The little modulator is completed. Let's go ahead and let's tear into the Texas Star. Give me a second to reset and we shall return. How big are your balls? I know how big my balls are because I'm sitting here pulling transistors out of flats of 25. It's been a hot minute since we've seen anything with a flats like 25. You boys and girls don't know, this is how transistors used to come when we'd buy them in bulk back in the day. Yeah, and I've got a whole bunch more just like this. Anyhow, here's the matched 8 that we're going to stick in this this suite. I shall return. Okay, well, here's the inside of the suite. So it's got 8 DEI transistors in it, and we're going to kick it on. It's a 1,000 watt slug and peak, 1,000 in average, 5 watt slug and reverse. Shouldn't even have that on yet. Hold on a second, check this out. 20 whole watts of drive. 800 PEP. So now I've got to go in and I've got to modify this. We're going to pull out the DEIs. We're not going to show you how we modded this thing to make it work. That would be bad. So now we got to go in here and let's talk about this thing for a minute. There's some work that's been done in here that I'm not overly impressed with. And if we look, we're talking about this resistor, and we've got a different color, different style resistor here, and a completely different one down here, but they're all the same value. That's all that matters. So things that we got to get away from are these little tiny SMA capacitors. These will not work. So we're going to put metal clads in their spot. And then we're going to do a full power wire upgrade. So for me to do that, and to do what the customer wants, which is HACO strain reliefs and a couple other things, we've got to modify some stuff over here. So first things first, we're going to pull the power wire out of this thing. Then we're going to come back through and we're going to take transistors out. We're going to put transistors back in, do the caps, and then we're going to do the power wire upgrade, where we're going to create a little standoff board. Now normally there's calls it. There's fuse holders that are over here, and we utilize that fuse holder, and I put a little board across that, and I put the power wire across that, and then I make this cool little racetrack out of it. We don't have that. They didn't give us that option this time around, so I've got to make something different to support the power wire internally. But it's okay. I have a plan. All right, let me go ahead and rip into this thing. The other thing we got to do is take this white wire, extend it, and go to this point here on the switch. So give me a minute. I shall return. I wish you guys knew how long it takes to create these things. Really do. So I had to come up with a creative workaround for the power wire. I created my own distribution bus over here. Now, the reason these aren't perfectly straight is because there's a splitter that's right here. And electrically, we got to leave a little bit of a gap. But we got the DEI 2879s replaced with the Toshibas. We've done the power wire upgrades, full overhaul. We got an extra ground here, or a new ground there, and a new ground here. All HACO strain reliefs, dual oversized 8-gauge. And the only thing I got left to do is to crimp and solder on the Anderson clip. So I think I'm going to get out the hydraulic press and do that next. But this truly takes time. You can't rush it. It takes time to do clean solder work. It takes time to hand clean and hand tie everything. But elegance is in the function, and the function is in elegance, and beauty makes power. So, okay, let's have a little bit of fun here. So everything's set up exactly the same as it was when we first started. Okay. Now please note we changed out these little tiny SMAs, the metal clads. Now if you remember with the DEI transistors we were able to get about 800 watts out of it. 20 whole watts of drive, right? Works way better my way. There's obvious amp restrictions that take place inside this thing. Now, I do have one that's going to be kind of scrapped. I'm just pulling the transistors out of it. So I think what I'm going to do is see how far in the future, another video, see how far I can really take this thing. As in like changing output transformers, changing input transformers, changing the turns, changing the capacitors, changing the combiners. I really want to see how far I can take this thing. But the point that I'm trying to get at is with bigger power wire, not this sketchy little kids shit that's on this thing. This is garbage, by the way. This is just freaking garbage. Going with big power wire, good solid distribution. With 20 watts of drive, we're making over 1,000 watts. That's a 200 to 300 watt increase with the same amount of drive, without changing the tuning, just by upgrading the power wire. I preach this left and right, up and down, all the time. Hence the reason I have the big cables that feed the transformers that come over the top of the transformers and they go down to hit the transistors. Believe it or not, transformer is a current reducer. It's a bottleneck. The guys that have tried it, I mean on an 8-pill, they'll see another like 100 watts out of an 8-pill just by individually feeding each one of the transistors, instead of running it through a little tiny piece of 22 gauge wire and hooking it to the back of the transformer. That adds up in a lot of different ways. Heat, efficiency, amp draw. The watt potential is there. And it increases the efficiency of the circuit around the most inefficient component that we could ever have. I say that with MOSFET being out and been out now for, I'm going on year number 3. Hold on a second. Going on year number 3. With that being out, that's a really efficient part. That's 80 to 90% efficient depending on what the circuitry is around it. Okay, this is like a 60 to 65% efficient part. 30% makes a big difference, so let's try to overcome some of those shortcomings. Now what I did want to show you is this distribution bridge that I put in here. Yes, it's actually held up with metal standoffs. I've done 2 or 3 different versions of this, where we wipe out the sideband and put a big distribution bar here, and I got this big butterfly thing. Bring all the wires together, increase the positive rail distribution. Big heavy solder joints carry a lot more amperage. This is held in place. We ended up drilling a hole through the heat sink. I had to hand file these nuts to hold the pillars in place, and then this is double nutted on the top to keep it from backing out. So now the only thing we got left to do is 2 things. We've got to install the fan kit on this, which won't take much time at all. And then we got to run the whole mess. The one pill driver with a 2290 in it into this thing. And I bet you we'll see about 16, 17, 1800 watts somewhere in there. But not a whole lot more than that. Not with this level of drive. And the guy that's getting this box, he's a firm believer in, you need more power, get a big linear. Don't drive it harder. Just saying. Okay, let me put the fan kit on this thing and let's play with that. Texas Star with Toshibas in it. That was a standard back when I was a kid. And for out of the box, off the shelf, not custom built amplifier, these were the bomb when I was younger. Of course, I didn't know any better, and I didn't know there was other bigger, badder companies out there at the time, but I was just exposed to what we had locally, and I remember this would have been my dream setup when I was a kid. Not so much anymore. Anywho, as we all know, I just spent the last 2 hours, because it takes that long literally to disassemble one of these and put it back together. I just spent the last 2 hours changing out the pukey little bullshit fans that come on this new $200 fan kit with some fans that actually move some air. These are JMC Jamcos that pull about 0.6 of an amp a piece, versus the ones that come out of here pulled like a quarter of an amp. But it's not overly loud. We got decent air pressure, where the other ones wouldn't move any air. Now, the old school ones were 200 CFM, and they were about this thick. They had 5 blades on them. And they'd move almost twice as much air, but they were scooching, screaming loud. These will work well for you. These move almost the same amount of air at about half the volume. So, let's run around the lap here real quick. It's your modulator with the 2290 in it. First, let's show the big box running. Wow, right at about 1,000. That's a 1,000 watt slug in 2X, by the way. 1,000 watt slug in average and 5 watt slug in reverse. So, let's show you drive. Variables all the way open. Oh, I forgot to mention that I had to go and use a different knob, because when we went and put the actual Made in America, or not Made in America, Made in Canada potentiometer in this thing, the shaft was too big to fit on the stock knob. So, right at about 100 watts, about 120. Let's put this down on 1X so you guys can get an idea. Right at about 120. Right at about 60 bird. Driver putting into the 1-pill. Right at about 20 watts. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll flip this sucker on. Now, I left all the sideband intact. I did not turn this into a comp box. Turn that up to 2X. Oh, 500 bird. About 17 some change, 16 some change. Running exactly as it should. This will run forever. And this will run forever. Now, we did have a little problem. I didn't even think about it. The stock 3 amp switch protector and fan protector fuse that's in this thing, as we can clearly see, is popped. So I had to replace this with a 5 amp fuse. I didn't recalculate for the extra current of the fan draw. Alright, so we got that out of the way. Let's implement the other unit of measure. Let's go ahead and bring the derail radio online. Derail radio hitting a 1-pill. Now, instead of a very anemic like 30 or 40 bird, now we're doing pretty close to 100. So watch this average meter. About 950 average watts with the derail radio driving it. Same amount of drive, shown that in many videos. But 1,000 bird and the same peak, 16, 17 some change. This thing's working. It's working well. Well, Mr. Black, here's your pristine virginal suite. I gotta wrap this thing up in a plastic bag because I don't want packing peanuts to get up inside your heatsink fins. But we didn't throw the kitchen sink at it, but we threw the entire house. This thing will run forever and ever. If we were to simply take this 2290 out and replace it with a 2879 in the 1-pill modulator, we would see significantly more power out of this. But like I said, the gentleman that owns this is a firm believer in, if you want more power, get a bigger box. And I kind of stand there with him, shoulder and shoulder. Hence the reason I have a 40,000 and I run it like it's a 10. All right, guys, I'm out. Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all tuning in. My name is BBI. I'm the biggest mud duck in Idaho, without a doubt. Come check us out, www.bbiamps.com. Come find me on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, right here, and of course on the YouTube Garler. Hey, I've got so many repairs over here, I'm running out of places to put things. So my repair time now, as of today, since I had 23 new repairs show up today alone, has now been pushed out to 6 months. Minimum. As of this minute. I appreciate all the work, you guys. It's just becoming very, very overwhelming. No joke, I am literally standing in a room with about 700 repairs. So, on that note, I got other stuff I got to do and other people I got to make happy. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'll see you guys. Bump, bump. Thank you, by the way, you guys.